Discover how a heartwarming encounter with a poor waitress transformed billions into an incredible journey of redemption. Mia wiped her hands on her apron, the familiar scent of coffee and pie wrapping around her like a warm hug. It was just another rainy afternoon at Mel's Diner, a place where the clatter of dishes mingled with laughter and the sounds of everyday life, a second home for sleepy regulars and busy families alike. Mia, just 24, balanced 4 shifts a week. Every tip mattered, especially when she was still paying for her mother's medications. Her dreams of nursing flickered dimly, but she held on to them with fierce determination. Just as the rain drummed harder, the door swung open. A man burst in, soaked to the skin, wearing a sharp suit that clung to him like a straitjacket. He was Tom, a businessman plucked from the heights of success, now seeking solace in a cozy diner. His eyes reflected something deeper, something lost. When he settled into a booth, Mia approached with her signature smile, unaware this encounter would spark a transformation for them both. "What can I get for you?" she asked, noticing his air of desperation. "Coffee with a side of hope," he replied with a tight smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. There was a weight in his voice, a palpable sadness that contrasted sharply with the liveliness around them. As Mia poured his coffee, she found herself sharing more than just menu options. She opened a window into her world: her mother's illness, the sacrifices she made juggling tables, and her nursing dreams that felt miles away. Tom listened intently. "You've got more grit than most people I know," he said, nodding slowly. For a moment, he forgot his troubles. They discussed values, about how hard work can turn dreams into reality. But just as hope began to fill the void between them, the diner was plunged into darkness. The storm outside wreaked havoc, flooding the streets and knocking out power. Panic filled the air. Whispers of despair echoed through the diner as customers hurried to leave, fearing Mel S. would never recover from the damage. Anguish gripped Mia's heart as she surveyed the chaos. What if this was the end of the places where joy ignited life? Tom felt the community's despair strike a chord deep within him. The ghost of a forgotten purpose stirred. That evening stirred something in him, igniting a flicker of determination. An idea took shape. What if he could be part of the answer? Rallying old friends and patrons, they organized a fundraiser to save the diner. "Let's South bring this place back to life," he declared, his voice booming with conviction, drawing applause from the crowd. As ideas flowed, Mia realized that her strength had inspired more than just her. Tom, grappling with his own path to redemption, felt motivated to help others, reigniting a lost sense of community. But as glimmers of hope lit the air, Mia faced deeper challenges. Could her dreams sustain amidst the wreckage of reality? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As plans materialized and hope blossomed in every corner, a new storm loomed. Mia's fear that their efforts might not be enough to change their fates. Meanwhile, Tom couldn't shake the weight of his past actions. They stood on shifting ground, where dreams clashed with hard truths, both teetering on the edge. Could a waitress and a fallen businessman forge a new life together? Or would their burdens chain them to the past forever? The question hung in the air, pulsating like a heartbeat, urging them forward into the unknown. Mia couldn't shake the feeling that everything hung in the balance. Each passing day brought new challenges as she continued juggling her responsibilities at the diner, and every morning, she woke up with the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. The fundraiser was set for Friday, just days away, and she felt every tick of the clock beating louder in her ears. Tom was a whirlwind of energy, coordinating with the local musicians, arranging promotional materials, and reaching out to businesses that might donate supplies. He was on fire, and it was contagious. But as Mia watched him work, a nagging voice in her head whispered doubts. What if their community didn't care enough to show up? What if all their efforts ended up in vain? "Hey, Mia!" Tom's voice broke through her thoughts. He had paused from his brainstorming to catch her eye. We were thinking of featuring some of the diner's signature dishes during the fundraiser. What do you think? The thought made her heart swell. You mean like pie specials? Absolutely. Your cherry pie could be the star of the show. His laughter danced through the air. For a moment, her worries faded. She could picture the townsfolk coming together, laughing, eating, and lifting each other up. It was what Mel's diner was all about. But as the evening set in and the rain persisted, the atmosphere felt heavy. Tom noticed her distant demeanor, concern etched across his brow. You okay? You look like you could use a little sunshine. Just thinking, she admitted, forcing a smile. What if no one shows up? Then we'll make sure they do, he insisted with a fervor that made her heart flutter. You're not alone in this anymore, Mia. We're in it together. Tom's unwavering confidence ignited a spark within her that she thought might have dimmed forever. She found herself smiling genuinely, her spirit lifted as they brainstormed ideas together, feeding off each other's passion. Days sped by, and as Friday approached, the diner buzzed with an air of anticipation. The fundraiser took on a life of its own, posters decorated every storefront, and the whispers of excitement filled the streets. Mia could see it, a community coming to life, ready to reclaim what they had almost lost. When the day finally arrived, the diner transformed. Strings of lights glimmered, laughter mingled with the soft tunes of a local band, and the aroma of fresh coffee and baked pies wafted through the air. Folks began to gather, filling the space with warmth and joy, the clamor of voices rising above the sounds of the rain outside. Mia served table after table with a renewed sense of purpose. Every smile she exchanged reminded her of her dreams, the ones that felt so distant yet so possible now. But just when the evening felt solid, a shadow flickered at the edge, a figure loomed in the doorway, a familiar face cloaked in uncertainty. Tom? Mia's voice wavered as she approached, noting the look of hesitance in his eyes. What's wrong? With a deep breath, he disclosed the concern that had been gnawing at him. I don't know if I'm ready to face the truth about my past. What if I mess everything up for us? Her heart raced as she gauged his fear. They stood at a crossroads, every breath weighed down by what lay ahead. Would this moment be their turning point into something greater, or would the past shatter the fragile hope they had built together? Mia felt the world narrow around them, the vibrant sounds fading into silence. We have to face it together, she whispered, a blend of fear and resolve coursing through her. Just as warmth surged from within, determined to conquer the storm, the thunder boomed outside, a reminder that every journey holds challenges. Would they weather this storm, or would it wash away their newfound hope entirely? As she looked into Tom's uncertain eyes, they both knew they had to decide, and whatever choice they made could shape their lives forever. Mia's heart thudded loud enough to drown out the rhythm of the band, and she searched Tom's gaze, hoping to find something that would anchor both of them amid the turmoil. Whatever you're carrying, I can handle it. Together, we're stronger, she assured him, though the uncertainty gnawed at her confidence. Tom inhaled sharply and shifted his weight from one foot to the other, as if the minutes were dragging like hours. It's just, I've got so much baggage. I've hurt people. And I don't want to drag you down with me. She reached for his hand, the warmth of his skin grounding her. Listen, she said softly, we all have pasts. Yours doesn't define who you are now. You're here. You've changed. He looked away, the flickering lights casting shadows across his face. The laughter and chatter around them felt distant, as if they were in a bubble, isolated from the joy outside. Suddenly, a loud cheer erupted from a nearby table, pulling them back to the moment. A group of kids was crowding around the pie display, eyes wide with wonder. Mia! Tom! Look! One of them shouted, pointing with excitement. Your pies are awesome. Tom's eyes softened at the sight. It was a momentary reprieve, a reminder of why they were there. See? Mia smiled, squeezing his hand. This is what matters. Tom took a deep breath, the cacophony of joy soaking into his essence. You're right. I have to be honest with them, especially with you. Mia felt the intensity of their connection, but she also sensed the storm brewing just beneath the surface of his bravado. Then let us be honest tonight. Together. In that moment, Tom nodded, and the resolve in his eyes sparked a small flame of hope within her. As they turned back to the cheerful chaos unfolding in the diner, laughter mingled with the aroma of freshly baked pies. Mia immersed herself in the rhythm of serving, greeting familiar faces, sharing stories, and relishing the warmth of community. But every smile exchanged brought Tom's unease closer to the surface. She could feel it. Every time a delighted patron praised the pie, his face lit up only momentarily before the shadows returned. It was as if a storm cloud loomed over him, and she couldn't quite figure out how to chase it away. Hours passed, and just when she thought the weight of the fundraiser would lift, Tom suddenly excused himself. "I'll be right back," he murmured, urgency underlying his words. Mia watched him go, her heart sinking. An unshakable tension gripped the room as she rallied her thoughts. Tom couldn't keep running from his past, but could she help him overcome it, or was she only a fleeting distraction from the reality he had yet to face? Moments ticked by, and concern began to settle in her stomach. Just then, a familiar voice broke through her worry. It was Mel, her old boss, who had returned to the diner for the first time in years. "Hey, Mia!" she called out, a smile lighting her face. "I couldn't miss this. You've done an amazing job." The warmth spread through Mia, and as they embraced, Mel leaned back, studying her face. "You're glowing. What has changed?" Mia's mind raced. She wanted to share her excitement about Tom, their connection, the diner's revival. But just then, the door creaked open, bringing a gust of cold air. Her heart froze as she turned. Tom was back, his expression stormy. Mia's pulse quickened. Whatever had happened while he was gone felt monumental, and she braced herself for the impact. "Tom!" she called, as the chatter gradually dimmed around them, eyes shifting curiously. He glanced at her, his fierce resolve softened by vulnerability. "I'm ready," he said, his voice steady despite the whirlwind swirling within him. As he stepped forward, all eyes on him, wide expectations hung heavy in the air, waiting for the truth he was about to share. Would this moment bring the clarity they needed, or would it fracture the fragile bond they had just begun to construct? The world felt frozen, holding its breath, waiting alongside Mia. "Everyone," Tom began, his voice slicing through the air and drawing all attention, "there's something I need to say." He paused, swallowing hard, and Mia could feel the tension tightening around him. It was as if the whole diner had stopped to listen, breaths held in anticipation. Mia stepped closer, her heart racing as she bore witness to his struggle. She could see the conflicting emotions swirling in his eyes: fear, determination, regret. She wanted to reach out, to assure him that whatever he had to say, they would face it together. "I've made mistakes," Tom continued, the weight of his words thick in the air. "Some pretty significant ones. I hurt people I cared about. My past," his voice faltered, a tremor creeping in. "My past is dark, and I've worked hard to move away from it, to be a better person. But I need you all to know that it's not just that easy. I'm not perfect." A murmur swept through the crowd, eyebrows raised in surprise and interest. Mia's heart sank a little at his admission but also swelled with admiration. He was facing them head-on, revealing himself in a way that few could. "I'm here tonight because I want to make things right," he said, his voice gaining strength. "Not just for me but also for those I've hurt. I've been running from my mistakes, and it's time I stopped. I want to be better. I want to be someone you can believe in." Mia locked eyes with him, and in that unspoken bond between them, she felt a swell of hope. If he could be this brave, then perhaps their own connection was strong enough to withstand the truth of his past. There was silence for a moment, the diner suspended in an atmosphere of disbelief. Then, one person started clapping. It escalated quickly, turning into thunderous applause. Mia couldn't help but join in, her heart soaring. But in the back of her mind, a nagging doubt took root. He had just put so much out there, yet she hadn't shared her own fears. What if he was embarking on a journey of healing, and she wasn't ready to meet him there? As the clapping resounded, Tom's smile broke through the storm cloud above him. He looked relieved, like the weight of the world had begun to lighten. "Thank you," he exclaimed, breathing deeply. "This means more than you know." Mia felt a surge of determination. "Tom," she called out, her voice rising above the din after the applause had settled. "I need to share something too." The gravity of her own words sat heavy in the air, and she stepped forward to join him, the moment feeling monumental. "Mia," he said, concern etching his brow, as though he sensed the shift in the atmosphere. She squeezed his hand as she stood shoulder to shoulder with him, ready to peel back the layers of her own heart. But what she didn't expect was the rush of voices that interrupted her, shattering the moment before she could reveal her truth. "Hey, isn't that the pie lady?" a patron called from the back, causing laughter to ripple through the crowd. Conversation sparked again. They were easy and bright, a stark contrast to the heavy emotions a second ago. Mia felt frustration bubbling inside her. Just when she found her courage, a distraction popped up, threatening to invalidate her moment. But then she glanced at Tom. His eyes met hers again, reassuringly, as if telling her he understood. "It's all right," he seemed to say. "We can take our time." Yet, even amidst the laughter, her heart raced. She needed to shed her fears as he had. Wouldn't their honesty fortify what was growing between them? And what if she lost the chance to be as vulnerable as he had just been? Taking a deep breath, Mia prepared herself to leap into her own moment of honesty. Something significant was beginning to bloom between them, and she wanted to nurture it. But first, she had to figure out how. As she opened her mouth to finally speak, the door swung violently open again. A figure stepped in, cloaked in shadows, their presence dominating the space with an unsettling energy. Heads turned, and whispers ricocheted like sparks in the crowded diner. "Who is that?" Mia thought, feeling an ominous shift in the atmosphere. Would this new arrival shatter everything they had just built, or could they still find a way to embrace the truth at the core of their hearts? Mia's pulse quickened as the figure stepped into view, a stark contrast to the warm glow of the diner. The newcomer scanned the room, their sharp gaze landing on Tom and Mia, sending a chill racing down her spine. Whoever it was, they walked with an air of authority that couldn't be overlooked. "Who are you?" Tom asked, his voice steady but laced with curiosity. The figure took a step forward, revealing their face partially obscured by a hood. "I think you know exactly who I am," they said, their tone low, almost taunting. The tension in the room thickened, and the laughter from earlier faded into an uneasy silence. Mia's heart raced. She felt like she was caught in the middle of a storm, helpless to stop the winds from charging her way. The diner, once filled with voices and laughter, now felt like a pressure cooker, tight with anticipation. Tom stepped protectively closer to her, a gesture that shot warmth through her chest. "If you have something to say, it's best you say it here," he challenged, his bravado masking the concern brewing beneath the surface. The figure chuckled, a sound that sent shivers down Mia's spine. "Your past really does follow you, doesn't it, Tom?" they said, their voice dripping with mockery. "I'm just here to remind you of the mistakes you tried to outrun." Mia glanced at Tom. His face had paled, the confidence he'd displayed moments ago now replaced by an unsettling uncertainty. "What do you want?" he asked, his voice tight. "I want you to remember," the figure replied, stepping fully into the light. There was a glimmer of recognition in their eyes, an odd blend of familiarity and threat that unsettled Mia. "Remember those you hurt. Remember that they're still out there." The diner was silent. Patrons exchanged glances, some whispering, others trying to absorb the tension. The air thickened with unspoken questions hanging heavy in the atmosphere. Mia's pulse quickened again, her mind racing to piece together what was happening. Tom had said he wanted to make things right in front of everyone. Now, this stranger was peeling back layers of history she had yet to understand. "Leave us alone," Tom said firmly, but his body language betrayed him, the way his fists clenched, the slight tremor in his shoulders. This wasn't the confrontation he'd hoped for tonight. "Run all you want, but your past can catch up," the figure said, their voice echoing in the suddenly too small space. "You've made your bed, Tom. Now, it's time to lie in it. Mia felt a surge of protectiveness. She stepped forward, finding her voice, though it trembled slightly. Whatever it is he did, that doesn't define him now. We're all more than our past mistakes. The figure turned to her, momentarily surprised by her interjection. Oh, sweet girl, it's easy to say that when you know nothing of what he has done. The intensity of their gaze felt like a spotlight, hot against her skin. This wasn't just about Tom anymore. It felt personal, as if they were questioning her faith in him. Maybe I don't know everything, Mia said, her voice growing stronger. But I know bravery when I see it. And Tom is trying to change. The figure laughed softly, shaking their head. Change is a long road, one you might not be ready to walk alongside him. Mia's heart sank as doubt flickered within her. Were Tom's efforts futile? The past could be a shadow, and now it loomed even larger between them. She glanced at Tom, searching his eyes for reassurance, but all she saw was uncertainty. There was a shift in the energy of the diner. The tension felt palpable as patrons leaned in, their dinner forgotten for the moment. Tom opened his mouth, but before he could speak, the mysterious figure waved a dismissive hand. Funny, isn't it? A room full of well-wishers, yet no one knows the dirt. Mia shook her head, steeling herself against the negativity. We're not defined by our pasts. Her words hung in the air as she felt Tom's eyes on her, wide with surprise and something akin to hope. Maybe this is where your journey begins, the figure mused, stepping back slightly, granting them a brief moment of respite. Maybe this is where you find out just how strong you can be when the ghosts come knocking. With that, they turned and strode out of the diner, leaving behind a charged silence. What do you think they meant? Mia whispered, barely able to keep her breath steady. I don't know, Tom replied, still watching the door like it had just opened a Pandora's box. But Mia felt an impenetrable urge. She had fought to build something with him, to tear down their fears together. Let us figure it out together, she said, gripping his hand tightly. He nodded, though his expression was still troubled. But just then, as the diner returned to its usual clamor, a voice rang out from the back. Hey, didn't you say you're the pie lady? What's your secret? Mia shot a glance at Tom, half smiling with disbelief. The moment had shifted again, but she knew deep down that the truth of their connection remained intact, ripe for exploration. And as they spoke, a lingering question echoed in Mia's mind. How far would she be willing to go to face the truth, both his and hers? As the chaotic sounds of the diner enveloped them, Mia felt her heart beat a little faster. The weight of the confrontation with the mysterious figure still loomed in the air, creating an invisible barrier that felt harder to breach. She watched Tom closely, the way his gaze drifted aimlessly as he processed everything. The light from the overhead lamps flickered, casting shadows across his face, deepening the lines of worry she now noticed etched into his features. Mia, he finally said, breaking the silence. His voice was hesitant. I don't want to pull you into this. Tom, I'm already in it, she replied softly, squeezing his hand tighter. Whatever is going on, we'll get through it together. You don't have to carry this alone. He looked at her, a mix of gratitude and fear swirling in his eyes. It's not just my past I'm protecting you from. It's the people involved. If they come for me, it'll affect you. What if I choose to stand by you? She challenged gently. What if this is part of our truth now, and I have every right to be in it? Tom's expression softened, but Mia could see the storm behind his smile. He seemed to wrestle with something deep within himself, a battle between guilt and the need for connection. You have no idea what you're saying, he muttered, more to himself than to her, frustration creeping into his voice. A sudden clatter of dishes broke into their exchange, and both turned toward the commotion. An elderly woman had dropped her plate, beans spilling across the floor. Mia's heart ached for her. That could happen to anyone. It reminded her that they all carried burdens, visible or not. Let me help, Mia said, breaking away from Tom's side. She moved toward the woman, crouching down to assist her. A few patrons nearby chuckled lightly, some offering words of reassurance, but Mia felt a deeper sense that service was never just about food. It was about caring for each other as human beings. Thank you, dear, the woman said, her voice shaking slightly, but her smile was genuine. It's just been a long day, Mia smiled back, her stress momentarily forgotten. We all have those days. You're doing your best. It was a small moment, but somehow magical. The older woman's eyes glistened with gratitude. Something stirred within Mia, a connection, a shared understanding of perseverance. When Mia returned to Tom, her heart felt a little lighter. See? She said, beaming. Sometimes all you need is a little kindness to brighten the day, no matter how heavy the situation. Tom looked at her, a flicker of something like hope sparking in his eyes. But then the weight of the moment crashed back down. Mia, I don't want to drag you into my mess. You don't know what you're asking for. I'm asking for you to trust me, Mia said firmly, her voice unwavering. I don't care about your past. I care about who you are now. At that moment, the door swung open again, and the figure reappeared, this time not alone. Two others flanked them. Faces were now revealed, hauntingly familiar. Tom flinched. The promise of confrontation loomed thick in the air. Mia. I need you to, he started, but the words evaporated as the newcomers stepped inside and surveyed the diner. Looks like the party's just getting started, the figure called with a sly grin, casting an ominous shadow over the warmth that had briefly returned. Mia tightened her grip on Tom's hand, uncertainty creeping back in. What now? She whispered, her heart racing again. Tom turned to her, his expression grave. No matter what happens, don't let go. But she could feel the icy fingers of doubt twitch at the edges of her mind, stinging from the reality that she hadn't anticipated this confrontation. Would they truly be ready for whatever lay ahead? With that question hanging heavy between them, the trio advanced, an unspoken promise of chaos about to erupt. And deep down, Mia knew the moment had come. Would she have the courage to confront the truth of Tom's past, or would this be where everything fell apart? The air turned electric as the trio approached, the diner's chatter fading into a hush. Mia's heart pounded in her chest. This was the moment when the past collided with the present. The figure, dressed in a leather jacket, grinned too widely, while the two others watched with steely eyes. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but the warmth of Tom's hand kept her anchored. Mia, remember what I said, Tom urged softly, but there was a tremor in his voice now. Mia swallowed hard. I'm not going anywhere. Good, he replied, determination hardening his features even as fear lingered in his gaze. The trio stopped just a few feet from them, their presence a dark cloud looming over the diner. The figure gestured dismissively, as if to say they could disregard the innocent patrons sharing pancakes and coffee. You've been a hard man to find, Tom. But here you are, right where I knew you'd be. Tom squared his shoulders, and his expression hardened. Whatever you want, I'm not interested. Not quite your decision anymore, is it? The figure took a step forward, leaning against the edge of their table with a predatory grin. We've got unfinished business. Mia felt the world around her blur as her focus narrowed on Tom. She had seen this side of him before, the one that held the weight of secrets. Now, it was as if that part of him had been exposed in front of these strangers, a raw vulnerability underneath the bravado. You can't force something that isn't yours to take, Tom replied, voice steady, though she could see the flicker of doubt. Honey, we both know that's not entirely true, the figure shot back, fingers drumming against the table. Mia's instincts kicked in. What do you want from him? She interjected, feeling like a kite caught in a storm, something needed to break. The figures shifted their gaze to Mia, interest glinting in their eyes. This little lady must be new to the story. You really shouldn't be in this, sweetheart, they said coolly. Things are about to get complicated. Not if she doesn't want them to be, Tom said, looking directly at Mia. This is my fight. But it's not just your fight, she retorted, fear and anger blending in her chest, feeding a fire she didn't know she had. Whatever you did, you're not alone in this. I choose to stand by you. Laughter erupted from the figure, a low, mocking sound that echoed across the diner. How touching! But trust me, sweetheart, this ain't a rom-com, it's a brutal reality. Mia felt her heart drop, the laughter echoing in a way that twisted her stomach. In that moment, she realized she had no clue what world she had just stepped into. Maybe she was in over her head. But looking at Tom, she knew she couldn't back down now. She squeezed his hand tighter, searching for reassurance in his eyes. "We can face this together," she said softly, trying to breathe life into a shaky resolve. The figure's grin faded, replaced with a chilling expression, and the atmosphere shifted. The tension was suffocating. "Well, then let us see what you're really made of." In that instant, the diner felt like a stage set for chaos. Conversations paused, eyes turned toward the stage, waiting for the next act. Mia's mind raced. She needed a plan. Before she could react, the figure turned to the two patrons closest to the door, gesturing towards them. "And you," they pointed a finger. "I think you'd like to shine under the spotlight too." A sense of impending chaos wrapped around Mia like a suffocating shroud. What would she do next? The stakes were suddenly very real, and the comfortable diner atmosphere had transformed into a battleground. "Mia, remember," Tom's voice broke through the tension, "whatever happens, stay close." As uncertainty loomed larger, Mia took a deep breath. She couldn't turn back now. And then, a voice called out from the back, shattering the silence. It was one she recognized. Enough! Could this unexpected ally change everything? Mia turned, her heart thumping against her ribcage as she processed the authoritative voice piercing through the heavy silence. It was Linda, the waitress who had been there through countless mundane moments and midnight shifts, always quick with a smile or a sarcastic joke. Seeing her now, she felt an unexpected sense of calm wash over her, as if Linda was a lighthouse guiding her through a storm. "What did you say?" The figure in the leather jacket snapped, growling like a cornered animal. "Enough." Linda stepped forward, her stance steady. "You think you can come in here and bully people? Not while I'm on duty." The tension in the air crackled, shifting focus to this brave waitress standing up for them, her apron still wrinkled from hours of work yet somehow embodying fierce determination. Mia could hardly believe it. This was not the meek woman who served them coffee, this was a lioness, ready to defend her territory. "Linda, back off." Tom's voice rose, filled with urgency, yet there was admiration in his tone. For a fleeting moment, Mia thought she saw a glimpse of gratitude in his eyes, as if he appreciated the presence of someone willing to challenge the danger they faced. "Don't you dare tell me what to do," Linda fired back, her tone unyielding. "People like you don't get to scare good folks in my diner. You may think you can take what you want, but not today." For a split second, the figure seemed taken aback, their confidence faltering. But then, a cruel smile returned. "Cute, but misguided. You have no idea who you're dealing with." "That may be true," Tom interjected, his voice low and steady, "but she knows exactly who she is protecting." Mia felt a swell of gratitude toward Linda. This was a fight they didn't ask for, but here was someone willing to step in, to stand firm against the darkness that threatened to close in. More murmurs erupted from the scattered patrons, their eyes flitting between the standoff at the front and each other. Some began to whisper encouragement under their breaths, others shifted uncomfortably, yet none turned away. Then the figure sneered, their bravado returning. "You want to play the hero, sweetheart? Let us see if you can back it up." With a swift motion, they pulled out a knife, its blade glinting under the diner's fluorescent lights. Gasps echoed around the room. Mia's heart sank. This was no longer just about Tom and his past. It was about survival, raw and immediate. "Stay back!" Linda shouted, arms raising in a protective gesture. "Don't," Tom said, stepping in front of her, his muscles taut with the need to protect. "Please just let me handle this." "But what if it's you they want?" Mia urged, desperation creeping into her voice. The realization that she might lose the one person she had decided to stand beside hit her hard. Her thoughts spiraled. What was at stake? Was Tom's past worth his life or hers? Linda's gaze flicked to Mia, and in that split second, an understanding passed between them. They were both in this now, and they weren't going to back down. As the figure advanced, laughter darkened their features, the atmosphere becoming thick with impending chaos. Let us see what the real story is all about. Mia's mind raced, and so did the clock. What did they truly want? Then, without thinking, Mia lunged forward. Wait! She shouted, feeling both fear and courage pulse through her veins. Just like that, the diner became a crucible of tension, where alliances were forged under pressure. What would it take to escape this nightmare? And what if the truth behind Tom's past was even darker than they imagined? Mia's voice cut through the sharp air like a blade. Time slowed as she stepped into the space between Tom and the figure, her heart pounding wildly in her chest. This wasn't a movie, this was real, and every instinct screamed at her to retreat. Yet her feet remained planted. What do you want? She asked, forcing confidence into her trembling voice. Are you really going to hurt people just because you can? The figure lowered the knife slightly, surprise flickering in their eyes. Linda took a breath, her posture still fierce. Who do you think you are? The figure scoffed, masking their moment of uncertainty with arrogance. You think you can negotiate? You're not in charge here, girl. Mia felt the weight of all eyes on her. Every patron in the diner held their breath, awaiting the next move. She stole a glance at Tom. He looked ready to explode with tension, but he stayed silent. Was he waiting for her to lead? Was this a chance for redemption for all of them? Then who is? She pressed. You're not the law. You're just a bully trying to act tough. And trust me, we've had enough of that. In that moment, Mia felt a swell of unexpected courage, ignited by something deep within. The murmur of the gathered crowd grew louder, voices edging toward support. Linda nodded as if Mia's words had solidified their united front. The figure laughed, but it held no humor. You think talking is going to save you? Maybe you'll be the first to learn the hard way. Tom moved slightly, still ready to step in, but Mia shook her head. This was her moment. She faced the adversary again. You think we're all scared of you? We're scared of the violence, maybe. But you don't intimidate us. The laughter fell silent, replaced by an unexpected tension. Mia's bold stance drew the attention of the onlookers. They were rebelling against fear, one voice at a time. A waitress who fought for those she served, and a man struggling with a past their stories were unconnected but now intertwined. Enough! Linda shouted again, breaking the standoff that had hung in the air. You'll walk out of here, or it won't end well for you. Those folks may look weak, but don't underestimate them. We stand together. The figure hesitated, their eyes darting between Linda and Mia. This isn't over, they spat, restowing the knife with an almost theatrical flair. As they turned to leave, the atmosphere shifted. A collective exhale filled the diner, a release of tension layered with disbelief. Mia's heart hammered in her ears. She couldn't believe it had worked. As the figure strode away, a murmur of relief washed over the patrons. A few started clapping, and then the applause grew into boisterous cheers that echoed off the walls. Linda laughed a full, genuine laugh that lit up the room. But beneath the surface of that victory, Mia felt shadows lingering. Why had the figure been here? What did they want? What darkness from Tom's history was now resurfacing? Her heart sank at the thought of those questions. They were far from out of danger. Tom leaned closer, his voice low and urgent. Mia, that was don't, she interrupted, her voice shaking slightly. What was it really about? What danger still looms? He opened his mouth, hesitated, then firmly glanced at Linda and back to Mia, his expression hardening. She could see the weight of his past pressing down on him, a storm brewing behind his eyes. We need to talk, and it's going to change everything. A chill raced down her spine. Whatever lay ahead could unearth truths she wasn't ready to face. As the cheers quieted, the atmosphere shifted again, darkness creeping back in like an unwelcome ghost. What story had Tom hidden, and what would it mean for them all? The gravity of their situation was about to deepen, and they were all caught in its web. Mia felt her pulse quicken. What more was Tom hiding? The atmosphere in Mel's diner was electric, a delicate balance of celebration and the shadow of uncertainty that loomed like storm clouds overhead. People clapped and cheered in a momentary burst of excitement, but Mia sensed an undercurrent of tension flowing beneath it all. That loud celebration couldn't drown out the warning bells ringing in her mind. Tom looked as if he had run a marathon, his expression a swirl of relief and dread. Mia, his voice faltered. He could see her unease, the way her eyes danced with questions yet unanswered. Let us step away for a moment, she said, her heart racing. She pulled him toward the back of the diner. The cozy booths now felt too cramped, too full of their shared histories. She needed to see him clearly, without the noise of the diner crowd distracting them from the truth that was about to unravel. In the dim light near the kitchen door, Tom hesitated, a storm of thoughts wrestling within him. What just happened, he began, was only a glimpse of the past I thought I had outrun. Mia crossed her arms, the weight of her own fears and hopes crashing together. What do you mean? Was that person connected to whatever you were running from? Tom ran a hand through his damp hair. More than you know. I made choices that hurt people, and it doesn't just vanish. I have unfinished business that I thought I could bury, but they want to come back, and they want me to pay. Mia's pulse quickened at the implications. Pay? For what? What did you do? The vulnerability in his eyes tugged at her heart. I was part of something I shouldn't have been, a business deal that fell apart. People lost everything because of decisions I helped make. When things spiraled out of control, I left. I thought it was over, but... He let the words hang heavy between them. Mia shook her head, her heart aching for him. You shouldn't carry all of that alone, Tom. None of us are perfect. But is it enough to just regret it? He asked, his voice low, cracking slightly. I don't want you to get hurt because of my mistakes. I chose to be here, Mia replied fiercely, stepping closer. We confront things together, or we risk losing everything we've built, everything we want. Tom sighed, the weight of his burden evident as he leaned against the wall, arms crossed. What if I can't be what you need? What if the past catches up and drags you down with me? I can't stand the thought of losing you. She reached out, placing a hand on his cheek. But you can stand the thought of not having me by your side? We're stronger together than apart. You don't have to face this by yourself. As she held his gaze, she felt a spark ignite, not just for herself but for the both of them. In that moment, the decision to move forward suddenly felt empowering. Their shared strength could transform their individual struggles into one powerful, united journey. What do we do? Tom asked, sincerity flooding his tone. It's time to face it head on, Mia said, her voice steady. We pull the community together again. They're here for us. People have survived worse because they had each other. Tom's expression began to shift, hope glimmering in his eyes. You're right. I have to stand up for the people I've hurt. If we do this right, maybe I can finally find redemption. Together, Mia affirmed. Let us make that the promise we keep. With renewed determination, the two stepped back into the main diner, where the chatter had picked up again, laughter echoing off the walls. It felt warm and chaotic, a stark contrast to the storm brewing within them. Standing in front of their community, Tom cleared his throat. Everyone, can I have your attention? He called out, the din gradually quieting. Thank you for your support tonight. It means more to us than you know, Mia added, feeling the energy of the room shift. But we have a lot to address. Tom took a deep breath, glancing at Mia as if gathering courage from her presence. I need to be honest with you about who I am, a man with a past that doesn't define me, but it's a part of my journey. I want to own it and make it right. Whispers rippled through the crowd, but this time they were laced with curiosity rather than fear. I don't want my past to hurt anyone else, Tom continued, his sincerity palpable. And if that means facing those who've come back into my life, then so be it. I'm ready to confront my mistakes and make amends, and I'd like our community to help me along the way. Mia felt a tremor of pride swell within her as the room erupted into applause again, but this time it didn't feel like mere admiration, it felt like solidarity. They were all in this together, standing united against a past that no longer had the power to dictate their future. And as they celebrated in that moment, with love and laughter enveloping them like a warm blanket, Mia realized that sometimes redemption isn't just about facing what you've done, It's about allowing others to walk with you through the storm to find the light again. As the night wore on, plans began to form, not just for the diner's future but for a collective healing. Mia reached for Tom's hand, squeezing it tighter. This is just the beginning, isn't it? He nodded, the shadows of doubt lifting, replaced by the light of hope. They had taken a stand together. The journey ahead would be challenging, but they now had a community ready to stand by their side. Together, they were ready to build a new life, a life of redemption, support, and transformative love. And for the first time, Mia felt truly free. As night fell, she couldn't help but smile at Tom. The promise of tomorrow glimmered with possibilities, their hearts full and ready to face whatever came next. Now, here's where you come in. You need to subscribe now to not miss our next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support and become part of our growing community. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread these inspiring tales. And don't forget to comment below your feelings about this ending and what it meant for you. Lastly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.